accomplishments this guy has done. So, as a child, he's a special child. Honestly, when he was 4 or 5 years old, the questions he used to ask us like, what? His water is boiling in a container, right? While it is boiling, so my mom said like, oh, you know faliha, right? And then he is 4-year-old. He said, "Mommy, the water is boiling, not this day." So, this is the kind of things that we used to say as a child, and he doesn't know being other than being number one in any education-wise at all times, whether it's from the school, from the city, in the country, literally at university, top. So, I remember I was trying to get him to America, and I was telling him to apply. I am from Georgia Tech. So, you think like I'm inviting my brother, I am telling him like, okay, you need to apply to this. And I told him to apply to Georgia Tech, and he told me, why am I settling for Georgia Tech? This is from Eritrea. So, when I could go MIT, when I could go Cornell, when I could go this, like, are you kidding me? Georgia Tech is one of the top schools. And they are in Eritrea thinking about being accepted to Georgia Tech is not fit to him. So it's like, okay, that's what you would think, but Georgia Tech is not Mukhormei. This is one of the top schools, right? So, and he did exactly what he wants to do. So what happened? He applied from Eritrea, doing GRE. GRE, he hated. Literally, Cornell University, they wanted him so badly that at any time, as long as they are able to get out of Eritrea, whether it's half semester, a quarter of semester, we will accept you at any given time for PhD. So he came here to Cornell, where 25 to 27 Nobel Prize winners. This is one of the top schools. And he did his master's PhD at high level, like nobody else. And so on his graduation, my mom is here. My mom, she always thinks about Clinton. Clinton was the one that's the guest speaker at that time, and she had to see Clinton. My mom had to see Clinton on his graduation. And he didn't stop there. He did a lot of research in NASA, Miami, postdoctoral. He did his PhD postdoctoral. Now he has postdoc students and schools, universities, whether it's here in America or Europe, anywhere in the world. They call him and invite him to give his presentations. I don't even know what exactly the research he does. It is some kind of modeling. He might tell us a little bit. You don't often see a science. Usually we say research science, right? He is a scientist, as you can see, and on the national lab. Luckily, he came for a conference, and it happens to be on the same day that he's here with us. And at 27, he has his PhDs. He was transferring 2 levels at 1 year. That's how he was accomplishing. So it is my honor, and I always am proud of my youngest brother. He's my brother, by the way. Yeah, my youngest brother, and I mentioned that. So, in 2016 to 2017, he has more than 20 publications. Just 2016-17, more than 20 publications in top journals. So, we are lucky to have him today, and my brother, I used to hit him, now I can't.
Hello. How are you? It's my pleasure to be here. I'm happy to see all of you, and I thought I would put a little disclaimer that I think Georgia Tech is a very good school, and I'm sure a lot of you are going there and aspiring to go there, and I think you will all do well. So when my brother asked me to share my experiences with you guys, or my college experiences or my graduate school experiences, it made me realize that it has been a very long while since high school, college, and graduate school, and I got to thinking, what can I really share that could be helpful to you? And I thought a little bit what I learned in college, in grad school, and of course in high school can be summarized in a couple of points. One is, of course, in college or grad school, you learn skills, you learn things, you develop knowledge. But a third that is often overlooked is you learn values. And those are, the earlier you learn those things, the better off you are. And you could have learned them in high school, and they could make you better college students. You could learn those in college, they could make you better grad student, and so on. Ultimately, I think the value of education is to make us better people, not just skills and not just knowledge. So I could think of about 5 or so values that I think are worth noting for aspiring college students and hopefully graduate students and possibly engineers, researchers, medical professionals, and all that you could be. So the first thing that I learned is the value of our uniqueness, the fact that as individuals we are different from everybody else. We are different from our brothers, from our parents, from our friends. If we don't appreciate that, we miss a big opportunity to make unique contribution for ourselves and for our community. We are, as the Bible says, we are not all hands or feet. We are members of Christ. We have our unique roles that we play, and we should not feel like we need to conform to a specific person or specific persons. We should be using our unique gifts. That is something that you learn over time, but the sooner you learn that, the better. We have our gifts when we choose a specific field or area of interest and so on. We have to appreciate that we are different from other people. The other value that I learned is the value of curiosity, the desire to learn. That might be obvious for many of you. Of course, you are going to college and you are aspiring to go to college. Therefore, you value knowledge. You are curious, but curiosity is not just innate. It's something you develop. You learn it. You learn something, and then you try to find out more about it. And the more you find out more about it, the more you want to learn even more. So it's a endless but a joyful journey, and that's what we are going to college. A lot of people say, well, oh, if I go to college, I'll get a job. If I go to college, I will develop this skill or something like that. But as I said again, what the value of college is, it makes us better persons. So among being one piece of being a better person is being curious and being eager to learn. So that's obviously not that is in a way a no-brainer that we are going to college and we want to learn, but we really need to desire to learn as opposed to just accomplish a degree and get a job and all that. It's a big opportunity in that sense. We should not be short-selling ourselves by just aiming to barely make it or barely get a degree. We should aspire to be better people out of our experiences there. And then the third value that I can think of that would be very helpful to succeed in college, of course, is discipline. That means to do things regularly as if you are on schedule. It's very much like, athletes. They exercise regularly. They don't just prepare for the race on the eve of the race. You just don't see a marathoner come, on the eve of the marathon and say, oh, I will exercise today and run for tomorrow. We don't do that. So the same is school. We have to be steady. We have to be regular and do things over and over again. And the idea is that it could sound boring, but you get to that habit of to sit at a certain location, very comfortable place where you can read in a quiet place. If you do that for a couple of hours one day, if you do that, say over a month or so, you develop that habit. That becomes your thing. So that's very much like exercise or weightlifting or anything like that. Once you get into that rhythm or that regularity, you can go for a long time. So that's the third value that I think is important. That's discipline. And then the value of a really important one is character, of course. What does that mean? That means not to try to cut corners, to aspire for excellence. Many of you might be familiar with Albert Einstein, the physicist, and people ask him, how do I become a great scientist? And he said, a lot of people think that intellect is the most important thing to make you a great scientist, but it's not. It's character. It's a desire to excel, and as I said, a desire to learn, being curious, the ability to focus on things, to have the discipline, and the desire for quality work, for respect, for objectivity. Of course, if in any field you need to be objective, you need to be honest. In academic setting, that means not cheating from Wikipedia or something. In these days, information is everywhere, so you can get answers to questions by just not exercising your mind and by not doing the hard work. So what character tells you is that, of course, there is an easy way, but I want to do it the right way. So this is only one piece of the value that we need to be of good character we should not cut corners, and we should aspire for quality. You can take shortcuts, you can be unfair in your dealings with people, and you can appear to succeed. But that's not the kind of success that lasts. You see in the news every day. People, they go to the top of their endeavor and experiences, but because they did not deal fairly with people around them, they come down very quickly. So you don't want that. You want to be people of good character. Without that, nothing is meaningful. And finally, of course, you are going to college, and it's a big opportunity. And that means you will learn, of course, in your chosen discipline, but also you will have fun in the sense that you will develop new hobbies, you will make new friends, you will meet new mentors. And my experience is that a lot of the things that I learned in college, I learned them from friends, not necessarily from professors, but from colleagues. We have Christian fellowships that meet every Friday evening. My best friends are from all over the place, South Africa and Jamaica and places like that. Yeah. So a lot of people are like us. We share values, we share similar experiences. So don't be afraid to make friends who do not look like you, who speak in very strange accent. This could be very rewarding experiences. So you need to reach out to people. But of course, part of that is why are we there? We look many here when we are gathered in this room. When we are out there, we are one in college, two in a college as Eritreans, or we are very, very few people. So we need to. We might be the only Eritreans that others meet. So we need to be good ambassadors. So when we say, when somebody says, I know an Eritrean, we want to be a good example of Eritrean value. So a lot of us, of course, are first generation to go to college in the US. So a lot is riding on your success. You are our capital. We are our investment. Well, no pressure, but still, you are you are what we got, and you need to be mindful of that. You need to be ready to serve the Eritrean community here, but also Eritrea as a nation. Some of you could be in government, some of you could be in civic societies, in corporations, and you need to not forget that you are our biggest asset, and as assets we expect return as a community. We are, that's what's happening here. We are investing in you, and you should be mindful of that. So while I'm on the topic of fun, of course, in addition to your education, you will obviously develop hobbies and interests, and you should make time for that and make your impression on the college community. You could, if activism is your thing, if you stand for something, you join clubs that do that. If missionary activities or outreach is your thing, do that. If exercise, athletics, or art is your thing, do that. You make time for that. Doesn't mean that it needs to take all your time, but you need to be there. You need to speak up as part of the community, and be part of the college experience. You go to seminars. Sometimes the seminars do not even have nothing to do with your area of expertise. You might learn something. When a politician or a corporate person comes by, you have to have the courage to say hello and introduce yourself and introduce your background and what you want to do. So there are a lot of things that come along with just skills and the education. So to summarize, as I said, you need to understand your uniqueness and appreciate it. 2, you need to develop your curiosity. 3, you need discipline, you need focus, and to be able to do things regularly and consistently. And finally, you need to develop and maintain your character and integrity in dealing with each other and with other people. And finally, you should enjoy your college experience and have a good time there. Thank you. To the curiosity piece that I talked about, the desire to learn. So you want to learn more. One obvious place is to do a graduate degree. And the other important factor to note for all of us is that the times are changing. In some fields, a bachelor's degree is not enough, and it's becoming more so for many fields. And graduate degree gives you that extra level of depth, extra level of independence in terms of being able to do research or any development work. So it again comes down to curiosity and understanding that you need to perform at slightly higher level than what you could do in bachelor's degree. My journey, in comparison to older brothers, was relatively smooth. So it helps that you have older brothers who have gone along a similar path. So those of you who have older brothers and who have succeeded in their journey, I think it's something you can appreciate and you can value, in the sense that they could be good resource in guiding you and so on. But of course, I did my bachelor's degree back home at the University of Asmara, where some of you might have seen that the resources are limited. It's a fairly competitive place for reasons that it has it accepts very few students out of the entire group of students that do apply to that school. So the challenges are okay. Maybe I should use that. Maybe, yeah. At the university at University of Asmara, one of the things that sustained us, again, it brings us back to the values that I noted here. One is, of course, the discipline. For those of you, the older ones who know University of Asmara, a lot of us have this discipline. At any time, we are always at certain locations studying. If somebody is looking for us, everybody knows exactly where we will be at a certain hour. In some classroom studying, and essentially never leave before 10 p.m. So there is that habit that you are very regular and steady. We don't study on the eve of the exam. The entire semester we are at that room studying every time after dinner time, which is at about 6 to 10 o'clock. So that brings me to the discipline. The other is the support. You might not have that kind of opportunity here in the US, being that you will be dispersed all over the place. But at University of Asmara, we were close as students with each other, and we are always providing material support and academic support and moral support to each other. So it helps to have friends. So a lot of us, for example, the people who finished a bachelor's degree in physics in Asmara, a lot of us are here, and we talk about that all day. We work together. So friendship, as I noted earlier, is an important asset, and it gets you quite far. And the other point is that I should have mentioned is mentorship, the value of people that are older and more experienced. This could be professors. For me, for example, I had an American professor, Canadian American professor, was who I was assisting as a graduate assistant back at University of Asmara, and he observes me and says, he asks us, what are your plans for college? What are you going to do? And I say, yeah, I think I will go to Atlanta and do masters there somewhere. Then I'll try to go to go for PhD to those more the major research universities. And he would say something like, I think you are more like a Harvard, Princeton material, so you should slow down, do well in your GRE. That was, it could take a year to prepare for GRE, and aim for as far as it can go. So there are people who challenge us to aim higher. So that brings us back to the value of appreciating our uniqueness. So as an individual, as a young person, I wouldn't appreciate it, but the mentors would realize what we have in us and how far we can go. So you should be mindful of that, the experiences of our professors, our older brothers and sisters, and so on, and being ready to listen to them.
Most people have these issues these days, is the issue of financial. And other things that I can also recommend is a recommendation actually. What can you make? We have a group of students here. They are bright and everything. Like you say, they need a network. What's your recommendation for them really to make it a network to excel? Because nobody's an island. We all have to work together in life. So this is the purpose of you coming here together. So from your experience, you say that other people use in college will have like Christian fellowship, what can they do to do these things much better? So the financial and also the for them to come together.
Well,
most people have these issues these days, is the issue of financial. And other things that I can also recommend is a recommendation actually. What can you make? We have a group of students here. They are bright and everything. Like you say, they need a network. What's your recommendation for them really to make it a network to excel? Because nobody's an island. We all have to work together in life. So this is the purpose of you coming here together. So from your experience, you say that other people use in college will have like Christian fellowship, what can they do to do these things much better? So the financial and also the for them to come together.
Well, I think it's not just Eritrean community's issue, right? The fact that the college is expensive is a a national problem, and there are things that we could do to alleviate some of those. One is the value of networks and internships, and we could go to places for summers, and I did that. I was an intern at NASA Goddard in Maryland, as well as at Boulder, Colorado. So the idea is that you try to make use of your summers as effectively as possible. You could, it's understandable. You want to work, save some money for pocket money and so on, but maybe internship do not pay as much. But the experience that you get there, the networks that you build there, are really important, and they are worth it. So there's a trade-off there. Do I want to work, at any place where it pays better and save some money for the rest of the year, or do I want to do internship? It could potentially be very lucrative down the road, but you don't see the immediate value of it. So that the value of that network is important. So that's where you will learn about opportunities for scholarships and good recommendation letters, for example. What you have as young people, you obviously don't have experience in terms of skills and so on. So what people will see when you work with them is potential. Again, that brings me back to that character point, your integrity, your desire to work hard, your discipline, your curiosity. When your mentors see this, then they can point you to other people, connect you to other people, and so on. So I really want to highlight the value of internships at the right places. Internships at places where you want to be. So the question you ask when you are working as an intern at a place like, for example, for myself at NASA or the National Center for Atmospheric Research in Colorado, is that do I want to be the guy who I am working for right now? He seems to be having a good time doing his research and publishing papers and talking about them and so on. Maybe I could be that guy. So that's the kind of experience you want out of internship. And in terms of connections, in college, of course, there will be a lot of clubs and Christian organizations that you could benefit from. For that, you just join them and find out what they are, what they stand for. Thank you.
One of those scholarship, right?
Yeah.
So, what I'm saying, your advice, if you could do it from Eritrea, what's stopping them they can do it here? So that's why I'm saying, most of the people are burdened. Well, I cannot go to Ivy League, this and that. If you can do it, what I'm trying to say, you can do it too. So what's your take on that?
Yes, I think it comes down values that I talked about, and from that on, it's a matter of excelling in those examinations and things like in your case SAT and so on, but in our case it would be the GRE and so on. So sheer discipline and curiosity could go a long way in getting you the scholarships or the admissions that you need.
First, again, we want to thank Dr. Hagos. Can we give him another round of applause? We should be proud of him, and it just happened to be a coincidence. What an example for all of you guys. I know some of you guys here, our college students that are sitting in the front, what to aim for. So it's an amazing one of us that grew up in Eritrea and come to US and be able to go to the highest level. So If you want to contact him, get some drive, get the information from Father Asmael, he can give you. And some of you guys that are thinking into engineering field and other fields, maybe you need a little guidance, a little direction. So that's great. We're just glad that we have you today. Thank you so much. So at this time, what we tried to do was also, amazing. Last week I told you guys that, we got over 50 of our children that are actually going to college, that actually graduated. They went through our church, and a lot of them were not able to make it today. Just, some have to work and some different circumstances, but we still got a good about 20 or so turnout today. So we're glad to see you, all of you guys here, that you were able to make it today. We're proud of you. And the two things we wanted to do today, a few things, was one, we wanted to see you and see how you guys are doing in college life. And second, is a kind of a great role model for a lot of our youngsters that are in high school, that are thinking of college, that are thinking different colleges. And here's their chance to ask you guys questions. But before I go there, what I want to do is, first, I I wanted to say this. Some of you guys might have heard, with us today, we have Nahum Samuel, who's a senior at Georgia Tech. A few weeks ago, he did come to the main church, and he was one of the top runner for Georgia, the top runner for Georgia Tech. So I forgot what meters was it? Was it 10,000 meters? Okay, 10,000 meters. So can we give him a round of applause? Can you stand up, please? Stand up for the ladies. There you go. He was, some of you, a lot of you guys maybe remember, he was the deacon, all through his years serving in the church. So we're proud of you. So what I want to do at this point is I did pass a sheet before I forget. Can you guys update? We try, whoever we have emails, phone numbers, or for our college students, we try to collect whatever we have. Some, I don't think we're missing some people's emails, phone numbers, and even what level of college you're right now. Are you freshman, sophomore, junior, senior, and what your field of study is. If you can update it, I don't know where it got so far. So if you guys can pass it, maybe it's second level. I think the first row got it, and then pass it to the ladies on the side. And what we'll do is, before we get to the QA, I just want you guys, each one of you guys, just introduce yourself to everybody here. Most of us probably, we know you, but I don't know our youngsters don't know you. And then just your name, what college you're going, and what level you're at, and what the field of study. If you're undecided, that's also okay.
I go to Cornell University, and I'm a freshman, and I'm a biology major.
My name is Oscar. I'm a computer science major, and I'm a junior at Georgia State.
My name is Minas. I go to Georgia State University. I'm a senior, and my major is CIS.
Hey, my name is Noah. I'm a sophomore at Georgia Tech, and I'm a chemical and biomolecular engineer.
Hello, my name is Daniel Hagos. I'm a junior at Georgia State, and I'm a finance major.
Hello, my name is Adam. I'm a third year electrical engineering major at Georgia Tech.
Hi, I'm Nahum. I'm a senior Georgia Tech computer engineer.
Hi, I'm Otto Nosfo. I'm a freshman at UGA, and I'm a biological engineer.
Hello, my name is Yesik, and I am a CIS major, and I'm a freshman.
Hi, my name is Michael, and I'm a junior at Georgia State. I do computer science.
Hi, my name is Sloan. I'm a recent graduate from Kennesaw State from civil engineering.
Hi, I'm Nahum. I'm a new grad at Emory University, and I graduated in CS.
What is CS?
My name is Meadow, and I go to Cornell Tech. I'm a freshman, and I major in journalism.
I'm a freshman at Mercer University, and I'm majoring in nursing. I'm Allie. I go to UGA. I'm a freshman, and I'm majoring in biochemical engineering. My name is Lydia. I go to Savannah College of Art and Design, and I'm a double major in film and motion media design.
Hi, I'm Nardos. I go to Georgia State, and I'm a journalism major.
Hi guys, my name is Sagan. I go to Chamberlain, and I am a nursing student.
Hi, I'm Sada. I'm a freshman at Oglethorpe University, and I'm a biology major with a pre-med track.
Hello, I'm Johanna, and I'm a fourth-year biology major at the University of Georgia.
Hi, I'm Bella. I'm a third year at GGC exercise science major.
All right, great. I've got a few questions, just some things that I thought of. But before I get there, let's see if we have any of our college students want to share with us a couple of things about their experiences. Just doesn't have to be long, just a couple of volunteers before we get to the Q&A and give you guys a chance to ask some questions. So who wants to share a few things? Anybody? No, not QA yet.
So as I'm pretty sure everybody knows by now, I run cross country and track and field at Georgia Tech, as well as being a computer engineering major. And so I guess the biggest thing for me is just time management skills. In college, you don't have your parents hounding you when to eat, when to sleep, when to do your homework or something. I mean, that wasn't an issue for me in high school. But you have a lot of free time, so learning what to do with that free time is very important in advancing your future career or future life in general. For me, I use that free time to run track and field. It takes up more of my day than school actually does. I actually have to focus more on, I have to plan my school around running. So I can't take certain classes because of practice schedules. I can't do certain school functions or activities because I have to go out of town for a meet. So just making those sacrifices were the biggest challenge for me. As time went on, and not just for student athletes, this will happen for any student in general, you'll start to, your life will be like 50-50 at first as a freshman. It'll be like 50% school, 50% other stuff. But as you get older, it'll be less about school and more about other stuff, because you got to learn to phase that part of the school part out of your life as you get ready for, if you're going to go into the workforce, go into recruiting fairs and all that stuff. So I think that was the biggest thing for me, is learning how to handle my time wisely. And there were a lot of times where I didn't, where I just, wasted a whole day. Looking back, I don't regret those wasted days, but it's just, I think the biggest thing is knowing when to do certain things, whether it's like school, social life, athletics, clubs, just knowing when to balance and when to phase certain things out of your life and bring new things into your life is the most important thing I picked up.
Thank you.
But I had kind of a different experience as far as the 50-50 thing. To me in high school, it was always about, you have to be a well-rounded student, so focus on your academics and then also try to be involved. But in college, even though when you're aiming for med school, they do want to see that you're a well-rounded student, but really you have to focus on doing well academically. So my freshman year, I would be involved in certain organizations and stuff, and I would also try to excel in my academics. But as time went on and stuff, I would, cut out my social life, and now I'm taking all science classes where I don't have any, easy electives or anything. So it's kind of it forces you, the difficult schedule that you get towards the end of your college experience kind of forces you to cut out your social life or sacrifice something, because you can't do it all when you have, some rigorous classes and stuff. As far as time management, I agree with everything he said. My freshman year was very overwhelming because I was kind of waiting for someone to be there to be like, oh, have you done this? Have you done that? And then as time goes on, you learn, especially when you move off campus, you're like, oh, I actually have to go make some food, go get groceries and stuff like that. Can't just be driving home to get some injera every single weekend because gas is expensive. But Yeah, so as far as that, also I really would recommend getting closer to God in those years, because since you're not always going to be at home, you kind of have to, for me it was kind of just like okay, well my parents are not always going to be there. I can't call them every time I'm having a breakdown at 3 in the morning trying to study for my finals or something. So, just open the Bible and read it and try to relate it to your life, because it's really going to help you. Because every time I'm struggling or, trying to cram for exams or anything, I just read a verse and I see how it relates to my life, and it kind of helps me because it encouraged me. And it's kind of like, okay, well, this applies to my life directly, so I can kind of see how I'll get through this eventually. But as far as that, you guys have any specific questions? So I'm kind of going on a rant.
Yeah, we'll go to the QA and A later on.
Thank you.
I mean, obviously true for all saying it. But I guess in terms of what we learned, I guess was the question, time management is the biggest thing. I think before your academics, I think that's probably one of the most important things you learn, because it focuses more than just your academics, but your life. So you're going to be in school, you're not going to be at home. So mom's not washing your clothes. You got to wash your clothes because you got to be able to go to class, because you got to be able to eat. So you got to go grocery shopping because you got to have food. It's just a lot of different things you have to factor in on top of, okay, now I have to study. Okay, now I have to go and do this. So there's things that come in between that you'll have to manage, and if you don't, you'll suffer somewhere. So it's important to learn that you're going to have to be able to manage your time. I think another important thing was they discussed that you'll have to realize that your social life, you'll have to pick and choose, essentially. So obviously the most important thing you're doing is academics. Obviously you're going to want to have some fun, and you're going to want to enjoy yourself, because you can't study every day after the test, and what do you do, So learning when you have to say no, like, oh, can't do that, I got to go do this, priorities, essentially. That's another big thing, I think. Yeah, I think that's it.
Based off of what you were good at in high school, like if you were good at math and science, everybody assumes you should probably be an engineer. That's not necessarily true. Like in my major, for computer engineering, a lot of it's not math-based or science-based. It's just abstract. So being good at visualization and other stuff, or I was really bad at that in high school. But I got better with it as time. Just like I wouldn't pick a major just because you were good at it in high school is the main thing. I would pick something that you could actually see yourself doing 10, 20 years down the line. For me, I broke a lot of computer stuff growing up, so I always knew that, I liked breaking stuff, but I also liked seeing what was in the stuff, like how everything worked, how electronics worked. So for me, computer engineering was the perfect major where I could design and destroy as much as I want. So just finding something that you can actually see yourself like 10 years from now. If you don't see yourself being behind a desk, then don't pick like a business major or an engineering major. If you want to be like out in the field, pick something more research or scientific based. If you see yourself being more of a communicator, be like in journalism or public affairs or something like that. Just go based off of your personality more than what you're good at, essentially.
There was a lot of challenging times. So what keeps you